Alright, this is the response video to Pyro. I'm going to put it on this channel because it really doesn't deserve to be on a real channel. To have to make these kind of semantical arguments about, you know, basic words in our vocabulary that people are just going to keep fucking with for no reason, no good reason. So anyway, I'll start halfway into one of his videos.
Gasoline does not want to become a fire. You know, it has to randomly get into this situation where now it's in a fire and you have a self-sustaining chain reaction. Life is something like this, a self-sustaining chain reaction. And as the matter that does not show living characteristics shows no will, it shows no way to will and want something for itself.
Yeah, again, yeah, the showing part is where you just ruin the whole thing, okay? It just breaks it all down. Because we can create machines that'll show will. They'll display every nuance of it. They will mimic behavior that seems will, that seems they've made a decision and that they have, you know, committed to something and decided that is the thing they're going to do, blah, blah, blah. We can create the illusion of will, all right? And it would be an illusion because it would not be a biological nervous system that was compelling the action. So to talk about this as if there's this thing called life and this thing called non-life and there's nothing in between or nothing on the edges or nothing anywhere else is just kind of bullshit. We know what life is. Life is something based on the DNA molecule, a reproducing cell, okay? Beyond that, living forms have varying degrees of substance or character, very classifiable. You know, we go to the trouble to classify them, and there are sentient life forms and non-sentient life forms. And I think every logical, commonsensical person out there reserves a word like will for at least the sentient life forms, not the insentient ones. So this is just bullshit. Trees do not will.
You could fall into a situation. In that case, it's obvious that this, you know, inanimate matter has some property, which combined with the property, some property, or the same property in other inorganic matter, when combined together, suddenly something is expressed. And you have to remember, even if will, the part of free will as an illusion is the idea that it's free, there's still a phenomena here. There's the phenomena that we think we're making decisions, and I suspect that these kinds of decision, what we appears to be a decision, you know, is a phenomena. It might not be really.
Yeah, right. But why don't we just stay though with the science? Why don't we just stay with the true hard philosophy, which is accepting the reality that we think it is, or it appears that it is. But when we really examine, when we dissect ourselves, we can see that it's just an appearance of freedom, okay? Because it is just a manifestation of reflexes, as I said in the last video. A perfectly legitimate metaphor, much more legitimate than this nonsense where we're going to reduce everything to, you know, what is a tree thinking? Fuck that.
Really what we thought a decision was. In terms of throwing out cause and effect, I'm fucking sick of hearing that. Quantum mechanics does not throw out cause and effect. It expands cause and effect to the idea that there can be multiple causes and multiple effects. So you can have one cause with multiple possible effects. You can have one effect that could have multiple possible causes.
Right, and it's completely contrived, completely you just made it up out of nothing, okay? Someday one guy says, okay, well, this will be let's use this as an excuse to create the fourth dimension. Okay, so it's not just the fourth, we'll just create the fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, all the way up to 10, right? That's the magic number, apparently, in quantum math is 10 dimensions. It's just bullshit.
That's what it does. It expands the concept of cause and effect. It does not destroy the concept of cause and effect. And it's fairly straightforward. What is surviving out of our original concept of cause and effect is an idea of continuity. And
yeah, well, how are 10 dimensions continuity? It's not continuity. You're preserving matter by artificially destroying matter just so you can put it in another dimension so it can come back out of some wormhole or some other bullshit. I mean, it's just nonsense. Okay, it's It's a contrivance. It's a story. I could make up a story. I can just make up another story, and I can explain the circumstantial observations regarding atomic particles. I could make up a story. Okay, the universe is a flat grid. It's all like a line of dominoes. You know, and the catch is that all the dominoes have forces between them. So if you knock one domino over, you vibrate the one next to it, and blah blah blah. So we can create another scenario that perfectly well explains the observed scientific facts, okay, without creating another fucking dimension.
Really, since we've discovered that the universe is made up of discrete events, that something like this, it seems continuous, is really a lot of little separate things, discrete bits, namely the molecules and ultimately the atoms and basic particles. You know, we found that it's discrete. So what's the principle of continuity in that case? Well, it's actually just the principle of the conservation of energy. So the new idea of cause and effect that we will have to build from quantum mechanics, that's already being worked on, that will be compatible with quantum mechanics, will still preserve the conservation of energy. So that's the fundamental thing that really should not be.
Yeah, big deal. Yeah, so you preserve that, and so but you still create some sort of magic world, okay, where we exist in 10 other dimensions right at this moment, and it's only in the one that that actually gets poofed somehow. There's the poofed dimensions, and the rest of them are not poofed. You know, but any moment now I could just, you know, warp into one of those other dimensions at any moment. I'm just shifting between them. You know, my whole life I'm being pushed through wormholes into different fucking dimensions. I mean, fuck you. It's crap.
Lost out of cause and effect. There are ideas of these macroscopic causes causing singular macroscopic events. That has to be thrown out. You're the one believing in magic.
Yeah, no, it doesn't have to be thrown out. You say it has to be thrown out. That's all. You say so. Okay? You don't back it up with, hey, there's nothing obligating us to throw out the old design paradigms or whatever, the old metaphors. There's no reason we throw those out other than because Pyro says so. There's no logic saying that has to be done.
You throw that out because you're saying that the world is not how it appears, it's some other way. And I say everything's tangible. It's as it appears, it's as it feels when you touch it, it's as it is when you manipulate it and see what kinds of perceptions you can get by manipulating it in different ways. Okay?
Which means absolutely nothing. You know our perception is just bullshit. It's this tiny, thin little layer of reality that we get, and we have to recreate it. We have to build the substance of its reality out of that. We see the surface, and we have to analyze and dissect to learn what the rest is. We can't feel it. We can't know its chemistry by rubbing our fingers on it. Come on.
You're the one that's saying there's something magic about will, and so nothing can have will. I'm saying there's nothing magic about will. It's entirely a material phenomena, a phenomena of the material world. There's nothing magic about it, and so I expect to see it in phenomena to which it applies, namely...
It's a word, damn it, and it's a word that has been meant to describe something, and I would concede that we have learned through time that it's a word that probably doesn't have any real purpose as a word, okay? It doesn't have any real meaning, because what we think is will, what feels like will, really isn't will. It's just my reflexive response. I can call it will, but it's not really will. In that free will kind of notion, or in the fact that there was actually a decision being made, because there really wasn't a decision, okay? The decision was already made by the circumstances.
A living phenomenon.
No, it's a phenomenon of a central nervous system. That's how people associate the word. And you want to redefine it, fine, then we'll just throw it the fuck away, because I have no patience for redefining words. You want to redefine all the words in the dictionary, well, just tell me which ones you want to redefine, and we can throw those away, and then we can make our sentences a lot longer, but maybe they'll be a lot more accurate then, because this is bullshit. Alright, moving on to the other video.
Oh, and one more thing is that you say that I'm changing the word will when I'm applying it to living things. No, I'm not. That was the ancient understanding of life and will. You know, we assumed that some of the properties of human animals applied to other animals, and we sought to see the differences. We understood that we had different concerns.
Oh, look, we gave the goddamn clouds will. We turned the clouds into gods. We you know, thunder and lightning, they all became gods, and we gave them wills. Okay, granted, all right? But let's talk about how people use words in the last, say, 100 years, or maybe in the last 200 years. Do we really have to go back 4,000 years? fuck you, fuck this bullshit, okay? We know what the word will means in conversation between modern human beings. And if you're gonna fucking redefine it, then just tell people I've redefined the fucking word.
And cares and senses. But really the idea of will, the longest tradition of it is that it was assigned to living things, certain kinds of will, to living things. What happened, as far as I'm concerned, is Christianity came along and changed things. Christianity came along...
Oh, let's just fuck this bullshit, because I don't need this preach, okay? I've done enough videos on animal rights and everything else. I don't need to hear how it was the Christians trying to figure out a way how to, to subjugate animals. No, they didn't need to figure out a way. They just called them beasts of burden, just like they called other human beings manservant and womanservant. Just because they just called women lesser, they found ways to rationalize all that stuff without extracting will from it. They didn't extract will from a female to turn her into a slave. They found another way to do it, but who cares? That's not the fucking point. That's not what I'm doing. I'm not trying to oblige you to, conform to an understanding that somehow, animals are abusable. But I'm still, your bullshit argument that somehow we're all the fucking same, from a tree to a human being, it's all the same fucking thing. From the first bacteria to the human being, they make no distinctions about any of these things. They're all living, and that's all that matters, is they're alive. Bullshit.